All right, making a quick updated video with my experience on these two motherboards. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, the best option is this. And this may, your mileage may vary, but I've got about 7 months of experience with the Z790 Apex, okay? This motherboard is awesome. It just works, it's stable, it runs, it's great. Now, I have been using the Apex Encore for 10 days. I put it in on the 26th of last month. I ran it on BIOS 0220, then I ran it on BIOS 0506, and this motherboard is very problematic. I could run TM5 and have stable memory, whether it's DDR 8000, DDR 8200, DDR 8400 even. And my system passes and it says, you're stable. And my system is freezing. I get blue screens. I actually took my whole system apart and reseated the CPU, reseated the RAM, and GPU, everything. Checked everything over really well, completely reset the BIOS, tried different BIOS switches, and this motherboard has just been problem after problem after problem. It actually will trick you. You'll run TM5 and you'll be like, okay, I think I got it stable, I'm at 8400, and you can play some games, close out. A couple hours later, maybe you're updating your video card driver. Boom, blue screen, freezes up. Or while you're working even. So this thing right here is very problematic. I think it's maybe defective. I don't know what it is. It's perfect, the whole motherboard. So it just is what it is. I feel like it's like a cheaper version of the Z790 Apex, the white one. The box art's lower quality, the accessory packages lower quality. The board overall just kind of feels like it's just not as good. But I stuck it out for 10 days. I got to know this thing really well. And in the end, I had to go back. Had to go back home to the white one, okay? Let me tell you what, this thing is a beast, okay? I'm using my Z790 Apex white one again, and I'm loving life. Things are easy. Stability is easy, okay? You should not have to run a stability test, or if you run a stability test that says your memory is stable, your system should be stable. If it's not stable and you fail a test, then you can fine tune it and make it stable. Well, the Encore wasn't giving that. It was coming out stable, but having problems down the line, and you can't find the issue to the problem. So here we are. We are back to the original Apex, and my problems and issues and worries are suddenly gone. So this is 1300 KS, same RAM, same GPU, same exact stuff that I was running on the Encore. I was actually having weird GPU problems, even with the Encore. There were times when I would go and open up a browser like this, and my browser would start showing artifacts, weird stuff, it wouldn't load pictures. And I had another Windows that was doing a similar thing. It had, pretty much dual boot. And I'm not sure what that was about. I had, pretty much rebuilt the system twice with the Encore, troubleshooted everything, and it was just it was very weird. I had some issues going on. Another thing I want to mention is I had no sound with my GPU. As you can see here, those are my monitor speakers. If I, click the speaker and I move it, it plays sound through my monitor. I could not get sound through my monitor on the Encore. I don't know why. I have no idea, well, what was the situation behind that or what was causing it. I did eventually get it working on another Windows, but it was strange. Like, I was installing NVIDIA drivers and it was failing. It would say installation failed. Installation failed. And I'm thinking, what? This is crazy. This is just unbelievable. And that was really the minor stuff that I was kind of having, issues with. The main problem was I was able to produce memory that was stable. It was able to pass stability tests. And I'd be like, I'm good. But then the system would crash. It would freeze. Whether you're in the BIOS, in Windows, it would hit you when you wouldn't know it was coming. You would think you're okay. You'd be like checking your email, and then boom, it would blue screen on you. And you're like, why is this blue screening? My CPU is stock. My memory is stable. What is even causing this? So it was a lot of weird stuff like that going on, which I have none of on this motherboard here. Of course, when I first got this motherboard, I had my, trial and error with it, had some issues, but I was able to reach a baseline to get around those issues. Okay, I'm not able to even reach a baseline on the Encore unless I just run like XMP 7200. And even then, I'm not sure if that would even work. But I couldn't do it. I went back to my normal motherboard, and this is my current setup here. We're running the 5 D5s. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it gets its flow rate for days. Lots of water flow on this one. So, we'll run a Cinebench real quick and we'll look how this thing runs. We'll see that V-core is 1.288, and this is at 6 gigahertz on all P-cores and 4.7 on the E-cores with a 5 gigahertz ring. And it's fast. I mean, this is amazing right here. And this is my, this is the DDR5 8600 profile, and I'm using the XMP timings, nothing crazy. These are fairly easy to stabilize, especially on this board. And I've just got the, sub timings optimized a little bit. Here, I'll let you see the timings. These are the timings that I'm running. So it's just case latency 40. I got the TREFI 131070, and this is absolutely stable. It'll get through TM5, one SMS for 15 minutes or 15 and a half minutes or so. That's all I really tested it for. Good to go. Runs great, and no weird issues. No strange problems. You can see that max CPU power there, 340 watts. The max CPU temp, 61. The core temperatures are a little wonky because I didn't redo my liquid metal. I just moved the CPU over, right? So, we've got, but whatever, it works. 56, 53, 60, 61, 57, 59, 60, 59. E-cores are all about 44 to 49 or 44 to 50. This chip's always had some big differences in the core-to-core temps. I've always noticed that. It's just how the CPU is. I've already lapped it, the die. So the die is lapped on the CPU. That helped a little bit. But when I moved it over to my Apex, from the Encore to the regular Apex, I did not redo the liquid metal. I was just careful not to move the super cool cold plate, and it's moved a little bit, but not much, and I just went socket to socket, and I'm just glad to have the stability back. It's so frustrating when you can set a memory profile, you test it, and you're like, okay, I think this is stable here. It's this is good, and you're just using your computer and it's crashing, and you're like, why is it crashing? Like, what is this? You can increase the SA voltage, you can increase the IMC voltage, you can increase the IVR TX voltage, you know, and nothing's helping. Nothing is helping. You can turn off your fast boot, MRC fast boot, and just try to retrain it as much as possible. And I just was spinning my tires on that Encore. And if you have a Z790 Apex like this, just stick with it. It works. If it's, especially if it works. Now, if you got a bad board and you're not happy with it, you know, I understand that. This board has always been pretty good for me. When I first got it, I was using a 32 gig Hynix A-Die set of Team Group, and it didn't do well with that RAM. I could only get like 7,800. 8,000 was nearly impossible to even get, which made no sense at all. And once I switched over to 48 gig G-Skill 70, which these are 7,200 sticks, I was able to just overclock like it was nothing. It was just so easy, and I don't know why it made it so easy. I mean, but this board is just very, very easy to use. I did the thermal pad for the PCH. This PCH runs a little warmer than on the Encore. My Encore PCH temps were about 48 Celsius under a load and idled about 41. And you can see here they're 57. And on the so it's running 16 Celsius warmer on the PCH between the Encore and this. That makes me wonder, you know, why is that? The heat sinks look to be about the same. And makes me think there's some extra voltages going somewhere. But anyways, I'm glad to be back on this board. And this system right now, I've got to set it up with all these pumps, is just a beast. It runs great, overclocks good, and performs super well. But this is what I'm running right now. I was running a similar setup before I switched to the Encore, and I was just trying every single day for hours and hours and hours to get back to this, or even close to it. I was like, all right, well, you know what? I'll just do like 8,200 or 8,400. And I couldn't even get that, you know? And I'm just thinking, what is the point? Like, I'm just causing more headache for no reason when I already had a really good setup. So, anyways, I hope this video is helpful. And if you have any questions, let me know. Z790 Apex, the white one, runs great. This one's an AO4, and I do want to mention something else real quick. Some people have bent boards, and I looked at mine really closely when I had it off, and you know, you can see a little bit of it on the edges, and I was able to fix it very easily by loosening all of the screws that hold the heat sinks down. It's got a lot of stacking on the PCB, and I loosened all of the heat sinks, all of the screws, even these screws, all of the screws on the back. I flipped the board over and made it, you know, as flat as I could get it, and then tightened everything down slowly. These screws, and then these screws here on the back side, of course, and the screws for the PCH, and then I worked on these. And when I actually tightened everything back down, it's essentially as flat as the Encore, pretty much. So something to keep in mind if you care about that. I don't really mind. The board performs, and I put that above anything. That Encore come out of the box really straight, but it sucks. Like, you can't do anything with it. It's not, you can't even maintain 8,200 or 8,000 stability and use the computer for your day-to-day workloads. Like, it just will, it's like it has like Alzheimer's or something. It's like you get it stable, you run a stability test, and then the computer like forgets that it's stable, and it just, I don't know, it's just a very strange, it's a very, very strange motherboard. I don't know what happens with it. I could not get any level of stability beyond, you know, nowhere near as good as this motherboard. Nowhere close. So switching back was a no-brainer. But I hope this was helpful. This motherboard is awesome. And I will see you guys in the next video. If you have an Apex Encore, I hope it works for you. It may work great. With future BIOS, maybe this is a bad board. Maybe a newer BIOS is going to fix it. But here's the thing. LG A1700 is on its way out. Okay, we have a new, I think it's Meteor Lake coming soon, which is, I mean, why go through the headache? If, you know, we should enjoy this socket through its retirement and have fun with it at peak performance instead of trying to accomplish the same thing in a different color. Because that's essentially what this is, but you're going to go through all that headache again. And yeah, that thing is going back, right? Anyways, see you guys later. Peace.